So we'll go over the leave it. A couple things with the leave it with the poop. You guys don't pick it up right away, do you?
Well, we try, but no, we don't.
That's totally fine.
Three of them,
no, that's actually a good thing because like a lot of times people will be, I think we talked about that when we were like out there and she wanted to eat the berries or whatever on the ground. Like so many times it's like leave it and then the dog leaves it for a second and then people like kick it out of the way. And so the dog really doesn't get an opportunity to work through it because if that thing then is there, they go right back to it. It sounds really funny, but like if she's really intent on like something out there, I would just kind of, I mean, if she's good now when you're sitting out there, I would just kind of like sneak inside and watch her. Say leave it, only say it once with each exercise, but you tell her if she's sniffing around it, leave it. Yes, give her a treat when she comes back to you. Then let her mind go again. And then you can say it again instead of just like one time, now get inside, you know? And the point of that is to just keep going until she doesn't feel like she has to go back to it at all. Does that make sense? Because a lot of times usually it's just like leave it and then you know, get her out of it or you pick it up real quick.
Yeah.
So you can practice that with treats too. If you're having any issues with this, and I just want to go into it more in depth, I'll use 2 treats. So this is something that she really wants to go for. Leave it. Yes, good. What leave it and drop it should mean is nothing to do with like that thing that she's going for.
Right.
It should be like, oh look, I have treats over here or something better over here to get that ingrained in her. Leave it. Yes. I think she's probably mastered the beginning leave it, like able to look over here and leave it once.
Right.
But now what I'm doing, so each time that you pick this up, you can say it again. But now what I'm doing is a more advanced leave it. And so as long as this is laid down, I'm only gonna say it once, but then I expect her to just keep looking back at me. So shifting her mind when she wants to go for it to redirect herself and look back.
Okay.
So each time she's doing that, I'm giving her a treat, but soon I'll be able to do every other time, give a treat, and then no treats after I say leave it, and her focus is just, you know, glued right here.
Okay.
Leave it. Yes. So I'm not saying it again. Good girl. Yes. Good job. And I always just, you know, you want to just see like her state of mind. If it was like hovering that thing, I'd have the treat a little bit more visible. Since she was so locked on the treat, you know, hide this one a little bit. You want to be able to like read how difficult of a situation it is for her. So many people in the beginning have the problem with like, well, the dog, you know, left it for a second to get her treat, then went right back to it.
Right.
And you have to do that. And like, that's what I said with the poop, you kind of have to use that as a tool to like practice it in the beginning. But now at her stage, the more her focus is right here and the more that I trust her, I'll go further away. Good girl. And this is good, but the true test is always if she can look at the treat and make the right decision instead, which that's gonna be another exercise that I'm gonna show you right after this. So if she was going for it, it's always gonna be okay, you know, to say the name or like just like, something like that if she does, but don't repeat it again. I want you to look at it. You're being a good girl. Yes, good girl. So that's what you always want to end it on, is basically like her being able to look at it and it not be hard at all. So a lot of people practice this and the dog is still like staring at this treat for a couple seconds and then, you know, going back, and then they expect the dog to do it in reality instantly each time. And I know she's listening pretty fast if you can catch her with it, but just to really know her, you know, is her natural instinct actually switching? It has to be instant each time. You know, you'd get to the point, I mean, she's doing really well, so you could like walk around, but it's important to not push it too far where she does go and get it, because then that just feeds into her natural instinct.
Okay.
So that's a good one to practice. Another one, I don't think I showed you guys this exercise last time, but this is just kind of similar similar to that, but just really again, like showing her how do you get to something that you're excited to get to. Instead of pulling towards it and not having any self-control towards it, it's gonna be checking in up here with me. And that's what we want her to do. How is she on walks, like when she sees other dogs and stuff? Doesn't really pull or anything?
No.
Okay, good. So this is a little bit different than like a wait or a leave it. This is giving her full mental freedom to make the right decision. So I'm gonna just throw a treat. What I want her to be able to do to move forward is look at the treat and then think about like, how do I get this? Now I know she's super tired right now. So typically when you do this, do this in the morning during her crazy time, this would probably take you a half hour to get to the treat the first time, but it's a really good time to do it if she's lacking self-control to really work with her during that time. What I'm looking for to move forward is for her to look at the treat and be thinking like, how do I get that? A dog's natural instinct is to pull and go for it, but check in up here with me instead. So before we get to that point, Piper, I'm gonna direct her up here. Yes. And actually really she probably doesn't need treats up here. Yes, good girl. I'm not gonna use treats. So you see how she looked back at me? I'll move forward. Piper. Yes, so she's done this enough times that she doesn't need treats anymore right here, but that's how we did it in the beginning because we have to have motivation to not look over there. So once I have like too much focus right here, meaning, you know, she's just staring right here, then I'll let her mind go because I know she's gaining control. And I say too much focus because it's never going to be, I think she's really exhausted or she's just remembering it this well. Maybe it will always go like this now. Typically, I have to at least call her name like 5 times, you know, to snap her out of the state of like just going back there. And then she starts to remember. Then she's like, okay, I just need to look at you. Then again, it's kind of like what we were talking about, the real test. That's what most people do, like going up to the dog park. If you see the dog like pulling like crazy, the person will just get their dog to sit once. But the real test, that's great, that's better than just letting them go, is when you let their mind go after that treat or after that reward. If it goes right back to there, it's not full self-control, you know? Yes! Okay, go get it. Okay. She's like, are you serious? So, I know. When she's not so tired, you'll probably have the opposite. You know, it's all the focus will be there instead of not wanting to as much. But she was always actually pretty good with that exercise. That's like one of the hardest exercises ever for most dogs, just giving them full mental freedom to make the right decision with a pile of treats right there, you know, not directing them anything. So that will be good to work on.